All right. So we've got sword and shield. Let's get started. So this is Unknown. And if I could get the fighter's name on the left, we have Unknown versus the King. So we have a small punch and what I think is a strap on the left. Where's defense? It's a stab at a hip wrap. That's real clean. I love that. So what I think that I see from Unknown is he's got his punch shield is out kind of over his arm like this. So it looks like he can't hit him in the hip. And then he opens the punch shield, goes around, and then hits him in the butt like as a wrap, right? So he kind of like hides his arm behind his shield and then pulls it like out around the world into like a butt wrap. I think that that's really smart because like the cross position with the shield kind of makes it seem like I can't throw that. So I feel like it would make me feel like it's not going to come from that side. And then the sudden movement into that sweep, that looks really good. Guys, if you're on the chat, please steal that move. That looks really good. And you're using punch right now. Or don't steal it. Don't steal it and don't use it against me. Don't think about this move. This will hit me. I'm definitely getting hit with this. I like the footwork on it too, where Unknown steps off to the left real hard to kind of set that up. I think the King over here was kind of just like surprised by that. And I think the other piece that I felt was really smart that I like from this move is I think he was sure that the shield hip on the King was forward first before he threw that. I think if it was like reversed and he was sword foot forward, I would probably do like an opposite into money or something like that. But I dig that. I'm surprised he got his arm. Look at that. Yeah, I think I thought it would be a hip wrap. It looks like he threw a shoulder wrap. So my mistake. I think he hit him in the arm. But look how great that this is amazing. Like this coordination here is so hard to do. I really struggle with this kind of thing with like punch shields and stuff. But this is like great coverage. I think that my initial thought was I thought that I would put this shield like more like, was it tabbed? It was the circle like here. So it's kind of covering the forearm. But I think I agree with keeping this back over the shoulder because this position of the sword here being like kind of flat looks like he's going to throw like a flat high cross over the top. So I think that's smart. I think being able to do both is a good idea. So like if it were me and I wanted to like learn punch shield and replicate this move, I would try to pell this position, and I would also try to pell the position with the shield a little bit further. Guys, especially since you're taller, I think that Unknown is somewhat shorter than you. He's a little taller than me, but somewhat shorter than you. I think that you might benefit better from the shield being a little bit further forward, but this makes sense for Unknown or someone else getting close. But I would work on both. That's a real patient. I think that was a simul. That's good patience. I did notice that Unknown kind of stopped using his lateral movement. Maybe this is like deeper into the tournament or something like that, so he's not feeling quite as fresh. I feel like for sword and board, it's okay to use like a little bit less footwork in board because you have so much more defensive coverage than you normally would. But I think for if you lose that shield, you have to kind of switch your thinking and say like, shit, like my shield is gone, my extra coverage is gone. I need to turn that lateral movement on like right now. And Unknown is so good at that I think that probably would have made the difference there. I'm not sure if he won or they simuled. I couldn't really tell, but that was the only part that I really had much of a comment on. Okay, I was incorrect. This shield over here on this side, this is a punch. So I just noticed that now. It's just like strap sized. Toby, if it was me, and I love that you're here and you're thinking about this, personally, I wouldn't take any of the stuff that I'm talking about today and try to use it this weekend at the tournament. Anytime you try to alter your golf swing, you're going to lose some yards, right? So if you're using like a different strategy with a lot of like conscious deliberation on trying to like change elements of your form or change elements of your base strategy, you're going to do all those things slower. So I think what I would do instead is absolutely take the notes that I'm providing here, but just keep them on the shelf and just bring your A game to this tournament so that you don't accidentally like slow yourself down. Like you've got a strong game, just bring that game and then take the notes and then work on them for like the following tournament. I wouldn't try to implement things that fast. That's just my advice. No problem. No problem. I think Onion's being more aware of his lateral positioning here. That was a good counter strike. This is probably 2 out of 3, so it's probably simul and then the king on the right one over here. So I think it's 1-0. No, it looks like it's 1-1. I can see the... This has been my fucking saving grace, trying to review these videos that have no captioning and terrible audio, as he's got the score on his fingers here. So if you're reading, please do this for me so I can review these better. Thank you. I think that was Unknown's win, and he just got the hip there. I think... I want to see what attack that he used there. That was the same shot as round 1, where he went around and then hit the body, I believe, or the shoulder. I'm not going to rewind that again. It's really hard to rewind the videos that are longer, so I lose a ton of time doing that. So I think that was really smart by Unknown, because like round 1, he got that win from that really good attack. He didn't try to use it round 2, and round 2 kind of wore on, right? So I wonder if Unknown knew that because of the amount of time that elapsed in round 2, if that initial feint and attack that won him on round 1 cooled off enough that he could kind of use it again. So it's important to think about your techniques that you use in a tournament, especially at a high level like this. You want to kind of regard them as having like a cooldown in a video game, because once you've shown it to someone once, they are looking for it, but it really doesn't take that long for them to forget about it. So like if you have a shot that you're really confident in and it's your best shot and you need it to work, what you would do is, and I'm not saying that's the case for Unknown, I'm just trying to illustrate the point of what I think happened here. What you would do is use that favorite shot, the hound break. Obviously, it's everyone's favorite shot on round 1. And the hound break's the only thing I'm any good at. So round 2, I'm going to do anything but throw the hound break, right? I'm going to just like high cross, shoulder wrap, whatever. Maybe I get lucky, maybe I get it, maybe I don't. But I'm not going to show him that hound break that he lost to again, right? I'm going to maybe try that again on round 3. Now, obviously, the better solution is to have more techniques in your arsenal than that. And I know that Unknown does, because he's a fabulous fighter. But I think if you were trying to plan around one good shot, that's how you would use it. I think that's kind of what Uknown did here. He didn't have success with his other techniques on round 2, so he went back to the thing he used on round 1, and it worked for him. So that was solid and smart. I think it was shoulder again, by the way, not hip. But I think that you could do both with that. Okay, this is Bighead, and what was his name again? Was it Vulcan? 202. I think it's Vulcan. Yeah, so I can't even see what shield Bighead has got here. Is it tiny? He's usually a tiny punch. It's so small. That's Vulcan, yeah. Thank you, thank you. It's so small that I can't see it behind Bighead's body. That is an interesting choice. I would love to hear why you prefer that. I understand that you want to use a sword, a shield that's slightly smaller when it's a punch, but this is like very minified. So I would love to pick your brain on why you've made that equipment choice. Especially like you one keep, right? So there's definitely something there. I'll type it up presently. Thank you. Yeah, it's a buckler, basically. Well, everybody knows that bucklers have the most parry frames, so it's a lot safer to parry with a buckler than a medium shield. There's an Elden Ring joke for you. That must be it. I think what I'm seeing, maybe, is that the presence of the buckler combined with Bighead's really long reach is kind of making Vulcan want to drive in to hit like low quadrant shots and stuff. Because if he goes for high quadrant shots, like, well, Bighead's equipment is up there, right? He's very tall and long and very good at that. So I wonder if the presence of the buckler is making him want to drive in for lower quadrant stuff, which is kind of allowing Bighead to kind of take control of the range by knowing, like, okay, this guy's going to try to drive forward to come get me, so I just need to back up. Let's see if that matches up. Let's see if he got ring control to start. He's got a sizable amount, and then he pivots out to the right and takes some ring control right here. Now he's got like maybe three good steps back worth of defensive resources. And he aggresses a little bit to make sure that he's keeping that with something nice and safe and shallow. Like, it wasn't too deep of a wrap, but it was like a regular flat wrap. He's tracking the sword with his buckler pretty well. He's got a cross in there and kind of shut that down. And this is kind of like a come hither bait where he's like hanging his shield down. Then this comes in for the leg. I think that's one of the main, that's like a bread and butter game plan where when you hit someone's arm and knock it out, then you just kind of wait for them to get impatient and then hit them in the leg on the way in. So that's just a great picking them apart at long range and then getting the leg. That's good stuff. Okay. So to start with, I'm bad at board comparatively, but I'm very much specialized in single sword. I'm honestly more comfortable at fighting single versus board than board versus board. What I found with my stance is a lot of fighters get analysis paralysis because the entire stance reads like a bait. It's kind of a one-trick pony idea. I wouldn't say it's one-trick pony, but it's the only board style that I've ever had success with. So you won. So that's awesome. I think, objectively speaking, like, don't go get like a full medium shield, like on my account. But you could go a little bit bigger, just like something like 26 or 28. It may just be a comfort thing of like working around your shield, where if you tried some of the stuff that Uknown is doing with that kind of coverage, and you just practiced a little bit with a slightly bigger shield, I think that would kind of hedge your bets. And I think if you made it slightly bigger, you're still going to get that bait effect, but probably like at less risk, right? Because it does take a little bit of coordination to kind of work around your shield. But it doesn't take so much that you have to like make a minified shield like that. So it may just be like a comfort thing, but I mean, it looks good. You won that fight, and I think it's working for you. It's pretty cool. All right, so if I was, actually, let's keep watching that at 3 minutes. I think if I was Vulcan, he's not doing enough lateral pressure, enough stuttering, enough circling, like anything like that. He's kind of just hanging out in Bighead's max range, which is like a great place to go to die, man. Bighead is like a giant man. Like you gotta stutter, juke, move laterally, throw safe shots, blade beats, anything to get that sword moving. And punch shields, especially small ones, are a lot more susceptible to feints than like larger shields are. So you basically have to like find a way to take that first shot, step in, stutter the punch shield out of the way, and then throw a good shot. So let's look at this comment. So is it easier to move the small shield out defensively? You move it out with your... Okay, that's a question for Bighead. I would assume yes. Okay. Move it like a hand block. ADHD pretty bad, so I overreact to everything. I feel like I've heard that complaint before from people who have ADHD. All right, so Vulcan needed side-to-side, back-and-forth stutters. Anything here? It kind of just like milled out to the outside a little bit laterally, and it wasn't enough there. I think he needed to not just cut right, but he needed to cut left, cut right, pressure, blade beat, anything. But it's working well for you, I would say. Thanks for being willing to discuss it. 1 minute. Okay, a little bit of lateral positioning. That's good. I think that was a better job by Vulcan of taking some control and establishing pressure there. That's good stuff. I also love it when people adjust with exactly the thing that they need from round 1 into round 2. Great defense there. Great sniping. Okay, that makes sense. That was a great fight. Okay. Finally managed to get the lad to appear on stream. This is the real owner of the channel, Mang. So he's my boy. He helps me review my fighting footage. That's my puppy. He does. He definitely would. He's extremely fluffy right now. He's got a haircut coming in. Yeah, that's a nice boy. Being shy. I don't think he likes my ring light very much. We look so young in the ring light, though. We look beautiful in it. All right, buddy. Thank you. Back to work, Mr. Glad. That's a good boy. That's a good boy. Can you lay down? Thanks, buddy. All right, back to work. All right, this is Destroyer and Toby. At 318. Okay, so there's only... Oh, there's two there. These switched. Okay, go back. Is Toby still on here? Don't think Toby is still on here. So, one thing You are still here. Okay. Toby, your footwork looks great here. Like, it looks great. You're doing everything that I wanted you to do with your feet in single sword here. And I wonder if it's that you're more comfortable with your left foot forward than your right. So I don't know if this video is representative of how you always fight, but you watch your footwork here with your left foot forward. It's great. Lateral movement, good approach. That was a lateral directional retreat there, which is like not a super simple footwork thing to accomplish. It looked good. Forward, back. Some lateral adjustments there. Okay, now we're right foot forward. That was like pretty still. I think you got him in one shot, so I'm not totally sure if this is the case or not. But my working theory is like you feel very comfortable with your left foot forward with your footwork, and you just need to work on your right foot being forward with your board, or just like imagine like having your shield and moving with single sword, because it feels like you're very active with your footwork and board, but not single sword. So I don't know if that's like a technical. It could be a technical thing, comfort thing, nerves, emotions, energy. Maybe you got like a big second win because you didn't do how you wanted to do in single sword. You're like, fuck this, man. Board's my chance. I'm dumping all my energy out. Like, that's fine. But if it's the case where you like feel most, it's very common to for people to have really good footwork in situations that they're comfortable with. And I know you're comfortable with board, but have situations where you're not quite as comfortable. Or not quite as experienced, and your footwork doesn't do the things that it needs to do. A good example was Telfair in the last video, who had like marvelous lateral movement and engagement, and was like moving left and then right and then left, and like sequences and stuff with single sword and board. But I talked to him on the chat, and he was like less comfortable in Florentine, and his footwork just didn't do anything there. And it's like, try not to think of like your you've got not just one weapon set, but you've got your feet are a weapon set that are on deck all the time, right? So it might just be a matter of like transferring your comfort from that situation into single sword or something like that. But that stuff, that was great footwork. That wasn't just good, that was great. So it's just maybe try to transfer some of that stuff into single sword. And then here, like, your footwork is so good that you fly in from off camera and kill him, and we don't even see you. You just like drive in like a cartoon character or something. Like you powered up off screen for an episode and then flew in and like attacked him. Big old jump. Okay, well, maybe it wasn't that big. I was exaggerating a little bit. But you kind of just walked up and popped him. I think I was so enamored by your footwork in the first one that I like projected into the second one. But I got excited. It happens to the best of us. Okay, but that was right foot forward again. It was kind of like just a little hop there, right? So maybe think about like doing a little bit more right foot forward footwork drills like in your solo time and stuff, and see if you can get that more comfortable. Like maybe that's what's going on there. Starting a matrix, okay. I think this was the same situation that we saw in single sword, where Starling did a great fucking job of cornering them and then kind of like acquiesced and let them out of the corner. I think a little bit more concentrated effort in keeping them into the corner would have been helpful here. It's just ninja fighting at that point with the jump shots. Is that what ninjas do? It feels more like a basketball thing. And Toby says, thank you. It makes sense. I feel more comfortable left foot forward. That's my main boxing sense. Yeah, absolutely. I'm the same way, where my left foot, I'm the opposite. I'm most comfortable with my right foot forward because I have some arthritis in my right ankle, so the dorsiflexion in that ankle is a little bit weak. But like my sword and board stance is like left foot forward. So I'm trying to figure out like how I'm gonna make that work in my old age, because it's like a door hinge that doesn't work at this time. I've seen Naruto. That makes me an expert on jumping ninja fights. Believe it. That's fair. That's fair. That's the only education you need. All right, back to work. Nice, nice. Good timing. Okay. Let's see. So I really liked. We've got by Starling. We've got 2 outside wraps to the shield in a row, which I'm kind of not a fan of. But then the follow-up attacks are used to 2 outside outside wraps. I think she pumps and then tries to throw money. Right, so she pumps to the outside and then through across, right? So you can make a really good argument that those 2 outside flat wraps are going to sensitize Matrix's shield to want to float to the outside, and then they use the context of those 2 outside flat wraps to fake and then go to the inside afterwards. So that's smart stuff. I think she got a leg for that, and maybe needed to get a little bit closer and put her sword a little bit higher to hit that money shot, or maybe she just wanted a leg. That's also fine. But that was a great opener. Yeah, I could tell that she got that leg and then went for a follow-up, a second leg, while Matrix was going over top. If that makes sense. That was a smart way of getting a leg for sure. And that was just a great reaction, great snipe. That was a good job. It was like smart strategizing. I think Matrix is the one that y'all said was primarily a red fighter, correct? That's what Trent said. Yeah. Okay. Yeah, it looks like Starling threw money there. How did she set that up? Yeah, she kind of pumped down to the outside, which I think makes a lot of sense given that in the previous fight, she had those 2 outside wraps that kind of just ate shield, but I think that really conditioned Matrix to want to sweep their shield out. She nailed that hit. That's good stuff, man. I believe that's what happened. Yeah, Matrix just called that. That was good. That was good stuff. I think this is mostly for on Matrix's side, is kind of just maybe since you say that they're primarily a red fighter, they're missing some hand-based experience there. I feel like their footwork is pretty good when they're moving, but they're being a little bit static, and that kind of indicates to me that they're having the same thing that we talked about with Toby before, where they feel like their footwork is really crisp and good when they got that red weapon in their hands. So it's when you're on the outside and it's safe to kind of move and shuffle around the way that you want to. It makes total sense that your footwork is fine, right? You're kind of ignoring the thing in your hands temporarily when you're on the outside because they're not in play yet. But when you get closer, that's kind of when the presence of objects that you're not used to in your hands kind of distract your footwork. So they're using good footwork on the outside, but kind of locking down pretty stiff. In my opinion, I feel like they're just Matrix is kind of using their shield, which is an oval punch, which I think is a super cool dynamic style, but they're kind of using it close like a strap. So I think that's a adjustment that I might make. All right, this is. We didn't get the guy on the right's name. I think the guy on the left was. You're gonna have to give that to me again. Was it Dragon? Maybe. It starts at 416. Give me them names. So I think Viking is Dragon on the left. And then we're going to call this guy the King. He has a crown. That's his name now. It's the King. So Dragon versus the King. So I think this is, punch versus punch. Is it? I feel like I hear jester bells. So I think for Dragon here, what I saw for Dragon was basically he's kind of overcommitting a little bit to darksides and leg shots. Fine to use more than once. Probably do something different in between attempts at them. But this is like dark side leg, like 2 attempts in a row. You got to mix it up a little bit more than that. So it's like double dark side, and then like kind of leg and dark side again. So I think if you see how, I want to see if the king kind of moved their shield over to their sword side to kind of control it a little bit and left the shoulder and the hip wrap open. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. It looked like he tried to throw a 1 wrap in there, but kind of quit on it. It might be like a comfort thing. I think the temptation with shields, punch shields, is because like dark sides are so cool and dynamic that we want to throw like all dark sides and all armored crosses and things like that. But we definitely need like more attacks on this outside edge over here, because all of our stuff was on this half of the quadrant so far, except like one attack. Balin, that's the name. Concerned Citizen brought it to me. Thank you, Concerned Citizens. That's Balin. I feel like given that we were going to call Balin the king, like period, I don't know if the Concerned Citizen did the right thing. I feel like I would want to be the king, but Balin. Okay. Thank you, Concerned Citizen. All jokes, all love. Okay, so I think Dragon took that with like kind of a flurry of dark side stuff, which is like fine. He overwhelmed them out there. I think I just still would want more stuff on that other quadrant. Okay, yeah, good call in there in the hip. That second fight was still like offside dark sides and things like that. Okay, this is, I don't think we've seen these two yet. I do recognize that that's a Cult of the Lamb shield, so that's pretty cool. 446. GS on the left. Okay, yeah, that's GS that posts all the SKBC videos. Hell yeah. Okay, we'll if someone knows the person on the right, let us know. I think GS is using a strap. Okay. 52. So watch both fights. Alright. Go back. Cross. Okay. I think that this was basically the person on the right, I believe is a Justicar. So Mr. Justicar over here, it looked like he threw kind of just a compound attack. And I think what happened to Gias is he kind of was floating his shield too far out, and it looked like he got dark-sided for that. So you can see, I think his shield is kind of kicking out a little bit on that approach. And you can see how it kind of edged out and around. So if you have a strap shield, it has to stay close to you. The only time that it is not close to you is when it is covering your arm for, you can do like an armored cross like that, where you slide the strap shield up to your wrist, or an armored shoulder up like that. You can tabletop it for a dark side, you can tabletop it for money, but otherwise, you really need to stay like as inside of the shield as you possibly can, because the further you extend it forward, the deeper it goes into the triangular plane of the sword. So I'll show you that to you guys. So like, if you look at this sword, try to get the good position here. It's following my face too accurately. So there's like this triangular plane here, right? So if you look at the zebra tip to the sword and you draw a line down to my forearm here, if you move your shield forward, right, you move the edge of it deeper into that triangle. So basically it stops covering you for wraps if it's not back the whole way that it could be. It slides into the space that that wrapping motion creates. So like if your shield edge is like here, the wrap is going to circumvent the shield. But if your shield edge is closer, right, it'll stop that wrap. So it needs to stay as close to you as it can. And I think I saw Bighead's comment. It looks like he's trying to move it to clear attack angles. I wonder if the shield could be downsized a hair. So I think that that's true. The other thing we want to check before we downsize it is it may be just strapped too high. If you do like his arm is right in the middle. If you strap that shield low, I feel like it's a lot easier to move it out of the way to swing around it without opening up too much. Whereas like if your shield strap is in the middle, you kind of have to like barn door it open to throw around it, because you're kind of like, if you're in your stance, a mid-strap shield is going to be like up here, so you can see how my fist is kind of running into it, whereas like my low strap shield is here. And if I want to get the shield out of the way, right, obviously my fist is not in the way of my arm at all, but if I want to get the shield out of the way, I just need to move it this way or rotate a little bit around it. So the other thing that you can do is kind of swing at your hips and your shoulders more to kind of get around the shield that way. That's another option. But I like to have like a lower strap shield. I think if they're a cross gamer, you don't want a low strap shield, because one of the points of control is your shoulder and your face, and it'll get like bashed into you, and it's like super not fun. And center protects you from that a little bit longer, but it's much harder to swing around. I don't think it's optimal. So that was a very good call, Bighead. Thank you. I think I want to see if there's like, it looked like the Justicar threw 3 monies in a row. I want to see if there's lateral movement on that. So it's, yeah, two monies, but no lateral movement. I'm a big fan of if you're trying to trap someone with multiple consecutive shots and the consecutive shots are the same, you want to try to move laterally while you repeat those shots, because the first shot communicates to them like you have a successful guard, and then you move laterally around that guard and wrap around it. So I would use that. I would add that as an optimization for the Justicar on the right. Good call there. Fight 2. I think that maybe the only thing that I would change for GS here is I feel like he tried to end the fight with a hip wrap. So like, huge shout out to GS for like trying to execute shot variety. I think that's exactly the right thing to do. It looks like the crispness of the variety of shots is not quite there yet, right? So it looked like some of the shoulder wraps and the hip wraps are crawling a little because maybe they're like new to him or something, and that's fine. But I think in a situation where I don't think Gias has done a single thing that the Justicar on the right hasn't taken a swing at, right? So in that case, I feel like when someone is gonna like sit on you and counterattack everything that you do, I would think twice about trying to drive deep and wrap shot them, because they're probably going to hit you for that. And it's riskier. It's easy to get countered during, and it's also like harder to execute. So I might if someone's like, I'm definitely going to counter strike you, I'm definitely going to throw every time you fight, instead of trying to like drive in and fake him out or beat him on a combination, what I usually do is say, okay, man, you want to go first? You can fucking go first. And you stutter, catch the block, and then attack them off of that block. Or the next level of that is you stutter and then throw a counter strike that acts as a block at the same time. So it's like intermediate and expert techniques. So I think that the main issue for GS here was just that strategic approach. He's trying to use like variety to move around the defense of someone who is not very interested in using their defense. They want to use their offense, right? So if the guy is like gonna make a mistake of like counter striking you very predictably, let him make that mistake. Let him take the first shot and draw his counter and then counter strike that shot. But I think those are the items that I see, I think, from that fight that stand out to me. Also, great speed and mobility by the Justicar on the right. That's like some good solid flurries with pretty decent form. Okay, this is Unknown and Magnus. Good lateral. Oh no, that was so fucking sick. Look at this fight too. The scoop on that shit that Unknown throws. Oh no. Someone call Make-A-Wish Foundation. That move was terribly sick. So you use like a lot of lateral movement on round 2. And I think Magnus is like, hey, that's enough lateral movement. I hate this. I'm going to come attack you. And Unknown just throws his scoop. I think Magnus was genuinely shocked that hit him. I like how he ran out to reposition and get his arm back. Very smart use of the rules and understanding them. That's very hard to do in the moment. So big shout out to that. Also, I love how Unknown didn't really chase him when he tried to run away, because it's like, I guess it's just like very shocking if you're like on a one-on-one with someone and they full ass run away from you. I'd be like, where are you going? Oh, right, the rules, dang. So that was smart thinking by Magnus. All right. That was good. That was probably a done deal when he lost that arm. I feel like you got to protect that arm. If you the meta game in single sword is like, make sure that you're always counter striking and make sure that you always kill the other guy and don't worry too much about getting killed. I feel like the meta for sword and board is like, you got to get that sword arm, get it down to single sword, and then just clean him up. I want to see why that hit. I want to spend a little bit more time on this fight because I love what Unknown is doing here. 5-12. So good lateral footwork. Why does this land? Okay, that's the same shot that he used against Balin, formerly known as the King. So where he started like this, swept up around and shoulder wrapped. So that's definitely a bread and butter shot for him. That looks good. It must be one of those kinds of feints that's like inexplicably bewildering, kind of like Phocion Lives was forever. So we all got used to it, but that's pretty cool. I think it also probably looks like as it comes up and out, it probably also kind of looks like a high cross and then turns into a shoulder wrap. Great footwork too, like laterally. I like how he stepped towards the thing that he wanted and then kind of stepped towards the thing that he wanted to fake to after that and then wrapped around. I like that. I wonder if like it's just as a note for myself, that sudden change in lateral movement being a form of misdirection. It's something I got to play with. I think like moving away from the thing that you want to hit, it's definitely got to be like a hell of a fake out too. I bet that really makes it a lot more powerful. Good footwork. That scoop. So sick. That scoop. I want to see why that landed. How did we set up the scoop? So I've been trying to work on this scoop and haven't had a ton of success with it. Oh. So it looks like he used this scoop shot as a counter dark side. I want to work on that. I am stealing that, and then I'm going to claim that I invented it. Scoop is a dark side counter. I dig that. I dig that a lot. That feels like an important find. I don't know if that was like, he kind of just threw it out and it worked for him, or if that's like an intentional thing. I would love to hear that from Unknown, but that seems like a very kind of a rare counter strategy for darksides. Okay, Morpheus and Hob. So we're starting with that outside sweeps by Morpheus to kind of get him thinking on this. Whoops. So we've got Morpheus kind of thinking about, sorry, not Morpheus, Hob is thinking about, is that control? Yeah. This quadrant by kind of sweeping upwards at it. Unknown. Hey, Unknown. Did you use that scoop on your round 2 with Magnus as an intentional dark side counter? Or was that a safe shot that you threw out and it just kind of worked out for you? Did you see that? I'm not stealing that scoop. I invented that. You guys were here when I invented that. So I don't want to hear anything about stealing. There's barely such a thing as laws in the current administration. So you threw it intentionally. Is that like an intentional counter? That's smart, man. That's smart. I just wanted to know if that was like that underside scoop as like kind of a rock, paper, scissors for use against dark sides. Because I kind of just started playing with that in the past couple of months. So that's awesome. All right. So we've got some outside sweeps by Morpheus to kind of set this up. I wonder if he's going to cross or something. Yeah, I was right. I love it. I love it. I love it when I'm right. And I also love that was a really smart thing to do. Like get him thinking in this direction and go the other one when he comes in. I think that's a really smart tactic for taller people to do that have more range. I'm still trying to kind of figure out like how do I do that as a short person. But that was good. I see Telfair doing the same thing. It's really sharp. So the setup is more me stepping right. And as soon as there is forearm pointed directly at me, it's a safe shot and a high success rate. Yeah, I'm strapped, so I don't know if I can make it quite as safe as you can make it with a punch, but I'm going to try to figure it out. I have like a low Santa Fe style strap now, so I think it's more possible than it was with my kind of like slightly offset center strap. But I'll work on that. It's like Morph Skywalker, huh? Yep. I just call it a scoop. Because I don't like Star Wars. I hate it. Yeah, that was just like the arm was gone and we reset to an unfavorable position. That was just like Hob kind of came in straight too fast and got hip wrapped for it. The other layer of that was really smart is that Morpheus got Hob thinking about his shield side too, which pulled that sword side hip open for him. In addition to that, because like after you lose that arm, you don't want to lose it a second time. So I think that he's good using the previous fight to open up the next one. That's good stuff. I believe this is Dragon and Magnus. 703. Okay, that's a good attempt at a shoulder wrap. I think this is the same person that we were watching before, where we didn't quite see so many shoulder wraps. I think maybe. Let's go back. So it looked like he kind of pulled down into a stab and wrapped over the top. So my thought process for that is like, it is a good fake. However, you have not proved that you can stab him yet. You have not made him think very much about stabbing yet. And it's also like he's using his shield, so he's not likely thinking about getting stabbed either, right? So I think maybe I would have tried to, I think maybe a thing that I might have done instead here for Dragon is like just throw a safe shot. If you want to shoulder wrap, throw a real safe shot from the outside to the bottom corner of his shield at the hip to get him thinking about that, and then try to pump down for the hip and wrap over the top if you really want that. If you really want that first, I'm a big fan of like starting off with sword side high quadrant, because most people just like want to cross. So you want to kind of prove that like A, you can cross them, or B, you can't be crossed, and then kind of like play off of that. It's just a real safe spot to go. But if you're going to fake with something like that, you have to prove that it's dangerous first. I think Magnus kind of just wasn't threatened by that, read the feint, and bonked him. Good fake by Magnus. And just kind of wrote it out with the advantage. Like that's what I'm talking about with the meta. It's like sword board, arm your opponent, then just finish him off. Kind of at your leisure. This is, I don't think we've had either of these two yet. Actually, I think we've had the guy on the right, but I don't remember what his name. Was it Destroyer or Ace? Saito and Destroyer. Okay. Saito and Destroyer. Starts about 7:38. I think darksides are safe things to lead with too, because like I said, people tend to want to lead with that high cross. So if you can have a safe dark side, I think that's a fine way to lead fights too. That's kind of my B plan for round one. Good wrap. I think we talked about Destroyer jumping for that shot against Toby and not making it, but then we see him jumping and landing that there. That was good. Great crossway Saito. Good stuff. Okay, so one thing I'm noticing is that Destroyer kind of walked around here and then kind of settled into position to fight from here again after a long time of kind of just like fighting from this direction. So when you use lateral movement, I think that this big circling is kind of just like the positive effects is kind of just frustrating for your opponent to deal with, because they have to like turn and turn, and it's like a little bit fatiguing to their knees. which I think is like, can be somewhat of an advantage, especially if you like have a small tournament and you kind of tire them out by doing that to them repeatedly. But I think the real advantage that you get from this leg situation would be something more like small lateral adjustments here. Lateral adjustments that are so small that the person who is legged is not sure if they should pick up their whole knee to turn to face you. Spoilers, they should. But what you want to do is make it small enough that they're tempted to just rotate a little bit. Because if they rotate a little bit to face you, now they are opening up more wrap shots and things like that they likely aren't aware that they are opening up. And on the flip side, like if you are kneeling, you have to move that knee to readjust. You have to get back to neutral to keep your defense from kind of twisting apart. So that's how I would use that lateral movement. Nothing wrong with circling. I think it's like a little bit mean, but I would use small lateral adjustments. And mean wins tournaments too, so, just my take. Okay, this is Vulcan, and I don't know who this is on the left. Let's go back. Vulcan's just kind of not ready for like a left-handed person here. Like Zalos kind of just drops in like a quick cross, and they're surprised by it. I feel like punches are a little bit more. They're harder to use in a mirrored situation against a lefty person, because this stance is kind of like you got this right half. Vulcan's right half is kind of exposed, and the obvious plan is to swing around and get this hip, or swing forward and get this shoulder, and then this shield over here is kind of just like off guarding this quadrant that's not going to be attacked too much, right? So I feel like your solution here, I feel like he kind of walked forward with this stance. Hey Nettle, thanks for reading, bud. I appreciate it. He kind of just like walked forward with this stance and didn't really like cheat his shield over. I feel like if I was fighting a lefty with punch, I would want to move my shield to cover my forearm and give myself a little bit more protection on that side and try to draw him to the shield side to wrap around. But I wouldn't walk up with this stuff exposed by default, because the shots are fast enough. This is also very close range, so the shots are fast enough that they're like kind of unreactable, right? So you need to make them reactable by standing a little bit further back and make them have to lunge forward to get you, or close it off and make them reach for a thing that's like further away. I do like that Vulcan used like a chop and then a wrap. It's really good to kind of like hit that same quadrant with two different attacks. The chop says my guard's in place, and the wrap says no, it's not, and the wrap gets around and hits you. So that was good shot variety there, especially like as a combo. I'm probably going to steal that. I invented that. Yeah. It's just not something I do a lot, especially against a lefty. But I can see how that would be really smart to like cheat my shield over, quick chop, shoulder wrap, and especially with like some offline movement. I like that. I think I'm sometimes against left-handed people, I'm overcommitted to like trying to fake them out of position. I should probably think about using more safe shots like that to kind of get them to open up more for me. Look at side to side. A little bit back and forth. That's a great cross. Good cross by Vulcan. Ah, what a scoop. What a scoop. That was super accurate. I love that. Anyways, this is Unknown. And the person who told me their name already that I forgot to write down. Let's see here. Italian, thank you. Okay, I'm writing it down. Italian, unknown. All right, Italian and unknown. I want to see if unknown throws that bread and butter shoulder wrap again. Because that's been killing people all day. Do it, do it, do it, do it, do it. Throw it. Throw it. Yeah, it didn't land, but we got it. Good grind in there. That looked good. See that again. Again, please. I think unknown leading with this shot really consistently is a really fucking smart thing to do, right? I feel like almost everyone in competitive Smash that I dabbled in for about 4 years, they have like a first initial plan that that they are so used to that it takes them no thought. So they just do their first really powerful move because a lot of the times it just kills you. And if it doesn't kill them, it gives you a lot of information. And then you can figure out what to do after that. So it ends up saving you a lot of time and energy spent strategizing to just know, like, okay, this is the power move that I'm going to open up with, right? And it's very, very rare for people. I don't think that, like, unless I was watching every single fight and not in a YouTube context, but like writing things down, that I would figure that out, right? I think the only reason that I saw that pattern is this is hyper condensed and I saw it just a few minutes ago. But that's a very smart thing to do. I think people should really take the time to write down, like, what is my A plan? What is my B plan? What is my C plan for the different things and different people that you might fight against and might try? I think a lot of us kind of at the upper level do that informally, but I think doing it formally is very good practice too. All right. So it didn't work out. So we got like a kind of a dark side hip wrap coming in on Italian. All right, that was like some good like ranged pokes with some shield coverage. I think Unknown kind of just spin and got it. I think that was a reset. I believe. I'm not seeing a sign from the reef, but either way, that was well played by both people. Like Unknown, I felt like Talion had a really great safe approach there, and Unknown had a really good like a kill shot where he's like, I don't care if I win, I just need to reset this so I don't have a loss on the record, and it's just the perfect thing to do. I think having like a really bananas single sword shot against sword and board is definitely something that I want to think about, where I'm like, I have an A plan for when I'm down an arm and have my right arm, so that I at least have something in the pipe to use that is like a high percentage reset, basically, instead of like trying to win that. That's an optimization I think I'm going to reflect on a little bit. A good call by Italian. Give me who's on the left and who's on the right. I forget which one Ace is. Thrag is in the tunic. I think that's Ace. I don't recognize this fighter that more fought. Okay, Ace is on the right. Thrag is in the tunic, so this is Thrag and Ace. Okay, let's give this one a good one, since Ace is here. All right. That starts at about 10:36. Okay. Okay. I don't know the result of this one. Okay. Gross. Okay, so if I'm reading this correctly, it looked like Ace got hit with a dark side in the arm, and then the right leg. Let me see. How many times did you go to sword sight here? Let's see. Yeah, it was good. It was good. So we got one sword side shot to the sword side leg, or maybe a failed money, but it looked like leg. And a cross. I think we get a cross come in. Yeah. So it looked like he was. I feel like choosing a dark side on shot 2 can be a couple of situations, right? So number 1, punch shield guys always dark side because it's sick as fuck. It really works, and it basically encapsulates the things that punches are good at doing, right? So if you see a guy with a punch shield, you kind of got to assume I'm going to get dark-sided for this, right? So I think in that situation, I would be a little bit more wary of my crossing there. It kind of looks like he expected it. Yeah, that's kind of what I'm saying, right? So like if you see a punch shield guy, probably a dark side coming. So you need to be careful about your crosses. And it looked like you threw cross-side leg and then high cross. So I think maybe an adjustment you could make is throw like a good armored cross first, where you do the high cross, but you put your shield on your wrist just to kind of see what they're going to do. Because you can't, if you have the shield the way, they can't dark side it, right? And dark side has some cooldown a lot of the time, where since they're throwing their shield over top, a lot of the time, unless they're unknown, they have a little bit of cooldown on that attack. So that's a good way to draw a dark side, is to like armor cross like that with your shield up across your sword, and then maybe throw low after that. You got an interesting shield shape there too. I guess you would have like really good shoulder coverage and hip coverage. I feel like these cutouts probably let you wrap around it pretty well. That's interesting. I don't think I've seen a shield like this before. It's like an inverted heater almost. I dig it. Okay. So I like how you went for the leg again, but you went to the other leg on the other side. That was smart. He wasn't ready for that at all. That was good thinking. So what I liked about this for the double leg is you use lateral movement to get that. That was smart. Oh yeah, he really likes the dark side. He was like gonna throw a 3 there. Yeah, there's a lot of dark side. All right, so that's 1-1. You're doing a great job returning to guard here after your throws, and I like that you're wrapping for the shoulder too. I think you maybe needed like some stutters to lower the shield a little bit. Another really good idea, I think, was so you hit him in the leg twice already, right? Throw a leg sweep up into a shoulder wrap, because he's thinking, I don't want to get hit in the freaking leg again, right? So he might dip his shield down to let you wrap over that shoulder. Does it in a way we can come back around and hit board side. That makes sense. I dig it. Some people are just really good with their punches that way, where the dark side doesn't seem to have quite as much cooldown. Yeah, I think that was like mostly a case of like needing to find some counter dark side strategies. I really like bear paws and stuff like that. So a bear paw is like a big, meaty upward sweep that goes down, around, and up like that. And a lot of the time, if you kind of catch it rising when your elbow's like this, you can kind of wrap around the shield on the inside like that, right? So that might be a good counter dark side strategy to work with. So he really falls off due to lack of footwork to follow up on the dark side. That makes sense. It's also only been fighting for you. Yeah, like footwork's the hardest thing to cultivate, I think. So that makes a lot of sense. I think Ace, you were doing a great job of moving lateral too. In comparison, it seemed like you had like the lateral control of the fight. I think it's just like setting up better feints using the context you establish by swinging at their legs before you try to get those wraps, right? Like fake at the leg and then wrap over the shoulder, and then just maybe some dark side specific counter strategies, since that seems to be like a pain point for you. So, all right, we're gonna do ads, and we're gonna try to finish off sword and board, and that's probably all we're gonna do today because my voice is gassing out. All right, so we are going to go to the end of this video, and then we're going to stop because A, my voice hurts from screaming by myself about how sick Uknown's underscoop is, and my dog is nagging me to get outside because it's past this outside time. Continuing on, we got Uknown and Morpheus. This is going to be cool. It's going to be cool. So 11:36. I want to see if we got that. I think that looked like that was maybe that shot that we talked about from Uknown. I think that there's an opportunity to live stream and make more content around fighting. I think that it is a lot of work and a lot of technical stuff, and I'm kind of only just learning it. But I think it would be fun. Oh, no. No spoilers. No spoilers. Why would you do that? See what we got. Good footwork. I like the little shuffle back there. Good maneuvering. And I love the backward movement and the long lateral reset. I don't know if you're trying to get more ring control, but it looks like you've got it right now, right? Like Morpheus is in the corner. Yeah, at least I learned from it. That's fair. All right, Morpheus is in the back. I think that it looks like you lost that exchange, but that's the best strategy where, like, not only did you get him in the corner, but you also used some lateral movement on that scoop. I'm wondering if maybe you scooped one too many times, or if he was too prepared for it, or just wasn't going to overextend as much as you thought. But like strategically, that was really good. I want to watch from Morpheus's perspective and see what we've got. So he's got a strap, very low slung. Sword foot forward. Kind of tight, so it looks like he can do shield foot if he wants to. Well, that's a lot of reach too. Okay. Ah, bummer. That's just a good snipe. I think he was just closer than you thought, and he kind of burst in on you, which is smart on his part because he hasn't really done much closing except to back up. So that was like a very good tempo change. I think that's a totally reasonable thing to get hit by. I think that's a note for myself because a lot of the time I know that I don't mix up my tempo a lot. Like, I want forward aggression. I want to get close. I want to bang. I don't really like to feint. I don't really like to bait. I like to throw the flurries or block strike and stuff like that. I think that this was a really good example of Morpheus, like, backing up really carefully and kind of lulling you into a sense of, like, it's okay to be aggressive. I'm not going to close on you. And then, like, suddenly closing with immense reach, right? So in the last two exchanges, when you threw twice for the same general area, he explodes out, keeping the block in place. I bet you could draw him out by doing that on purpose. Oh yeah, so like throw 2 shots to see if that'll get him to like rush you. That makes sense. I'm not sure if I would want someone to rush me. If I'm not a punch shield guy, but I feel like what a punch shield kind of wants is range control and lateral movement and offensive pressure from lots and lots of footwork like Uknown is doing, right? So I think that 2 shots into that lunge would be a good way of drawing him out to get a counter strike in. That's pretty smart. But I don't know if that's like a totally like a favorable position or a favorable situation for a punch shield versus a strap. Because I feel like the strap versus punch meta from the strap side is very much like, I'm just really trying to not open up until you get frustrated and try to throw something too committal, and then I'm going to throw something non-committal to the opening that I see, and just kind of hide behind my superior protection and hope that you kind of make a mistake. So I think like having someone close in on you, especially like someone who is this tall. So my wonder is like the closer they get, right? Like your Morpheus can just reach around and hit like Uknown in the back from a distance that like Uknown would probably only really be throwing like flat wraps to the tops of his shoulders and the fronts of his hips, right? So I'm not sure that I would want to draw that out. I'm not saying that you're not correct about that, Bighead. I just wonder if that is as a non-punch user, if that's like what I would want. For what it's worth, I'm really not great at board. I just like to figure out how to trigger specific responses. I think that that's astute and a very valuable contribution. I'm not saying you're wrong at all. I just think it's like interesting to discuss. So Uknown is saying that he's trying to fight at a very specific range and timing. Yeah, that's kind of what I'm getting at, as I feel like the plan to like throw 2 shots to get him to explode on you feels like really risky. But maybe you could make it work, Uknown, where if you know that someone's going to rush you after 2 shots, like you have the footwork to maintain that range. And maybe he'll overextend if he rushes out. That might be kind of a thing to add. It was like 2 safe shots and then like a big burst backwards, especially if you have all of this ring control as a resource where you can pull that distance. So that might be something to play with. But I don't know if that'll help. That's just kind of my candid thoughts on this. Is a very high level fight, so it's not where I can like give advice, right? I think those are just like areas that I would explore. Shuffle. Morpheus feels very confident in being in the corner. He does not care. That is interesting. There's a couple of times where he's like gone to the corner and be like, all right, come on, buddy. That's fine. It's a good rat. It's a good rat. Yeah, he got scooped. And then I wish we had saw this one earlier, because there's a lot of content there to look at, but we're hitting the end of what I'm available to do. So I can't give you any clear-cut answers there, but I think we had like at least a good discussion on where you might go with that. Is this Toby and Ace, I think? Yeah, I think that's the shield. Huh. Okay, so it looked like... I think for this fight here, it looked like Toby got impatient and tried to throw money from too far away. I don't know if Toby's still on the chat, so you don't remember that fight. It's pretty quick, but it looks like yeah, it's kind of like, yeah. So for this one, I feel like since the money when you throw money, it kind of ends in a position. I don't know. This looks like the end of the series, so it's hard to comment on because there's a whole other 1 to 2 fights worth of context here that I'm missing. So regarding this fight in isolation, you have to kind of look at the money shot. Since you land in like a low position, that it's committal, right? So you kind of want to get it on, in my opinion, when they're stepping in or as they're retreating, like after their first step. So instead of kind of like walking in close, up in money, I would probably walk in, step. So walk in, step up, step money. It looks like your shot here is up money into a committal kind of like lunge position. I think you would have more success with step up, step money. So I might try that. So Morpheus has been fighting since puberty. He used to be much smaller and it's very comfy at point blank range. I think he likes the corner because it forces the opponent into less of a lateral fight. He's not feeling the need to back up when pressed. Very unreal and very deserved confidence. That's interesting. It's interesting. That's how I would try to chain it anyway. I think the other part is that I would, for a tool like money, you kind of led with it. So we don't have fight 1 and fight 2 to look at, where you may have like sensitized those upper quadrants with like high crosses and flat wraps. But I think that I would start with some max range, high stuff, even if you know you want money and it's bullshit. Give him the bullshit to get him to draw his stuff up and then do up in money. I just wouldn't do it as shot 1. I would do it as like shot 2 or 3. That's the only other input I've got there. So Morpheus and Ace. Good side to side by Ace. Very, very cool shield work by Morpheus there. I want to look at that again. Let me go back. See him. So good lateral by Ace here. I like the safe shots to his hands to just like establish some threat, establish some control here. I think this would be a good time. So I do not like down sword and shield as like an option for when your arm is gone in sword and board for a couple of reasons. Reason number 1 is it very easy for someone to say, okay, well, you shield bashed me and that's illegal, so your shot doesn't count if you try to like lift it up and stab. I think don't have very much shield. You don't have very much sword showing here because your shield is pretty big. So I would probably strap out. And I think that fighting with being comfortable with down stick makes sense if you're talking about like a long down spear. But I think that personally, I probably still wouldn't do this. You need the extra agility of losing the shield. And you need the precision of being able to use the sword when it's up to try to misdirect them. Because like here, what he can do is he can kind of parry your sword, push through it, use his body to block your shield because you're not allowed to check him or bash him, and then just kind of go over top and smack you, especially at that height. So unless you're like, I feel like unless your left hand is like awful and you've never used it, I would strap out and go to single sword here personally. You can make another decision, but I think that this is not what I would do. Because like in addition, the sword is also in the way of your knee now, so it makes your mobility a little bit more awkward too. So you can see you're moving a little bit less than you were before. I don't know if that's the reason, but you may just be being careful. And you can't really like move it around to fake, right? Because the only attack that can come is a flip up and a stab. So you've kind of reduced this complexity of the system down to like Morpheus has got to look for one shot, right? And on you, like you're looking for any of the wraps that he can do with his sword. So I feel like you may have hamstrung yourself here. We'll see if you win. It's possible. It's just not, maybe not what I would do. That was actually a better shot than I would anticipate coming, so that was a good stab. I think that was like, it's too low and two low shots in a row, and I think maybe like too much, too raw. You maybe like add some kind of setup there. It's 3 low in a row. You got it, but it looked like it was interesting to see that it looked like persistent leg shots made Morpheus want to counter-strike you. So that might be something to add to your arsenal, where if you like throw a couple shots in a row, people will be like, hey, I don't want to get legged again. And if they try to shoot at you, maybe you could pump the leg shot and then do like a safe cross to their arm when it comes out. I think that's a stealable item for myself. I guess it's more of a skill check. A lot of people don't know how to fight against it, so generally, if we're both armed, I'll win. Okay, so that's a really good point. In context, I would not try to skill check Morpheus, because Morpheus is extremely skilled, right? But if you're fighting against someone that you know for a fact is just not really able to throw a good wrap shot, especially around like a big shield like you've got, that's smart. That's a good strategy. Against someone like Morpheus, who we definitely know can wrap, I might not use it. That's a cool blade beat. No, that was good. Good fights though. You did a great job of like Morpheus is huge and a warlord, and you did a great job of like a lot of the time when you're a warlord, you get like this free clout pressure where people won't pressure you, and you did a good job of like saying, no, I don't care who you are. I'm going to apply pressure with my movement and my shots. That was good. That's very smart. Toby and Rat, thank you. I heard that these guys drove the whole way to keep together and were a little fussy that they had to fight each other. Maybe not fussy, but I've been there before. I think it's like a lot of the time we're similar skill levels with the people we frequently practice with, so you get seated very similarly. So you drive like 12 hours to fight your bro like in a tournament, and it's just like, it's not fun. Alternatively, you're both amazing and winning a lot, so that's a good sign. Okay. Good lateral by Rat. Oh, that was a really good lateral interception and wrap shot on Rat's shoulder. Especially because like I know Rat, I fight him sometimes. He's from my area. His lateral is extremely strong. So that was a great read by Toby. Oh, you both flew? Okay. Did you have to fly home on the same airplane? Because it's just really easy to imagine Rat sulking if you beat him or something like that in the airplane. Being like, you know what? I'm taking the back seat in the tail of the plane. Sorry. I love Rat. That's all left here. It's a good point. I liked how you threw... No, you stayed extra week to visit fam. I like to imagine that you like called your mom and you're like, Mom, I flew all this way to a tournament with Rat and I beat him, and I can't stand being on a plane with this man. Can I stay for an extra week? Because I don't want to deal with his sorrow. Rat did phenomenally in Great Weapon, which we won't see, but I'm betting he was happy on this fight. On his flight. Yeah. He's very good at Great Weapons. It's very good. Anyway, back to the fight. I liked to tease Rat a little bit. It's a problem. I need to slow down. So I like that Toby set up this first one with a very shallow money. I don't know if it was intentional or not, right? But I feel like an intentionally shallow money shot to get them to the lower sword side quadrant, and thinking about that and covering that hip to open up that shoulder wrap, like that is a stealable item for me for sure. Because you gave him that fake and that throw, and you may have been 50-50 on whether you actually wanted to land that or not, or just like fine if you didn't land it. But I really like that as like a context building item, because it's like, it's not only the other quadrant horizontally, but it's vertically the other quadrant too. So that's definitely something that one thing I'm trying to work on is like taking the memory of the whole fight and using it to kind of guide my next move. And I think that that's like a good example of like an intentional play, and instead of like trying to beat someone on my first swing, do a couple of things to feed them some bad information and then capitalize it on like swing 2 or 3. Yeah, that was great. Ah, man. So I think it looked like play 1 by Toby was so good that it looked like there was a kind of a composure effect on fight 2, where it looked like, I'm gonna see what you. This is fight 1, so you had the shallow money into the shoulder wrap, and then fight 2. It looked like he kind of threw like a counter cross to your arm, but just didn't land the block. I don't remember what shot it was. Okay, it was like real money that time, and what I love about that is like you gave him this sense of safety from the money shot in round 1 and used it to hit him in the shoulder. And then you use the money shot again. I think that was like one of the times that I would use like a low quadrant shot out of the gate, is if I already got like that shoulder wrap. So I think that was like perfect strategizing on your part. I think I feel like for Rat here, he just the only thing that he did wrong really was just like he let you kind of establish control. So he started out moving his feet a lot, side to side and laterally and stuff. But he's not really taking like safe shots or anything. He's just kind of taking like straight counters and trying to play with what he sees without like establishing other means of control. So I think that he just needs to keep using his lateral footwork and maybe build in more safe shots or something to not rescind control to you. But Toby had solid control in that fight. All right, this is Talion and Toby. So remember that. All right. Yeah, that's a good plan for Rat. It looks like it's just still kind of coming in. But that's a good plan. It looked like there was a flurry in there, like an accidental face. I think mostly Talion just wasn't prepared for you to throw that many shots in the grind, which is like kind of why you got to spend a little bit more time feeling your opponent out. Okay, good pokes. All right, yeah. That was good safe pokes by Talion. I think what we needed there was it looked like, is it back this way? Back a little bit more. We had a lot of rotation in this direction, which is fine. But what you want to do is after you use lots of rotation in this direction, use a little rotation in the opposite direction. So the goal is to try to get Toby to turn his body this way to swing at you, which has a chance of exposing his arm. And you can kind of just take this sword and slot the arm while it's out over the top. This is me taking a long time to figure out I got hit in the arm before the head. Okay. Yeah, that's just how it be, man. Sometimes you gotta tuck it out. Especially if you get hit in the head, it can be hard to remember like the sequence of things. But it looks like you just talked it through and it was fine.
One over here. Fighters, let me know when you are ready.
Great money. Great money. Dang. I want to throw money like Toby. That's my goal. I think that there's great strategizing too, because that first fight, the big climactic moment was like cross, shoulder wrap, cross, like 3, 4, 5 high shots, right? And round 2, obviously Talion's going to be like, well, I don't want to get shoulder wrapped or crossed again. And then going low on fight 2 is like excellent use of establishing that context for the previous fight. So that's great strategizing by Toby. Let's go see if we can. I just want to look at that grind and see if we've got anything that we think we could improve for Italian. It's not this one. Is it here? Okay. Let's try plates again. Yeah, we're gonna put it at half speed. Talon, you have a strap shield, right? All right, so I think the thing here is you kind of tried to lead with a dark side, and Toby saw that dark side and just pressed you really hard, hoping to trap your shield, trap your sword under your shield. Yeah, low strap's fine. So a dark side is fine, but you kind of have to know that they're going to cross you first. So I think walking up with the dark side without the information that you're sure that Toby's likely to cross you from that range is probably not the best plan. Because if you get pressed and you get pinned, you know, you get stuck and you can't swing, and it's hard to break your arms apart to escape that. So I think that it looked like you were kind of trying to throw a dark side with the shield kind of flat. You want to try to tabletop it from long range. I like to do a little flash like this, like I'm opening myself up, and then switch under and throw like that from kind of like long range, especially like if you're kind of close and you open like this and then switch your feet back and step back and cross that way, dark side that way, right? So it's like I'm kind of close to you, I open up and then dark side. That might work a little bit better because you need this space away from the person when you dark side to be able to get your equipment back to where it's supposed to be when you have a strap shield, right? Like when you have a punch shield, you can dark side whenever the fuck you want. That's the whole point of using a punch. But with a strap, a dark side is like a very calculated, kind of long range poke if you're going to use it in that way, or a very surefire counter, but it's not like a mid-range scrappy, grindy shot, essentially. So I think it was just like the shot choice that you made there kind of locked you in to a grind that Toby was just totally ready for. And Toby really likes to grind and is quite good at it. So I think it was just the wrong plan there. So I think maybe spend a little bit more time kind of feeling out his intent before you do something that's as committal as the dark side. Like I really like, so good safe shots are like an armored cross or flat wrap where your shield is like right with your wrist. Very shallow money like Toby threw in the previous round, or a very shallow hip wrap. Just it doesn't have to be a serious shot to kind of feel them out. It doesn't have to hit them. You just need to get you need to make them take enough actions that your brain kind of builds a general idea of like what do they want to do. Okay, this is the talking. So that's I think my advice. I think the other stuff, you just got hit by a great shot on Toby that took advantage of that context, and then that's kind of how it went. All right, let's see what we got. Ace, Toby. Okay, that was good. I like the, you must have noticed that Ace was doing a lot of like really good lateral footwork because you're like, I'm not going to let you use that tool against me. I'm going to hit you in the leg. That was really smart. And then, so we got, it was like leg the dark side. Money. Not sure about the money choice, but I think you were probably targeting this terrible circle. Gosh, this forearm down here, which is acceptable. I feel like it's maybe a little bit committal for this, but if you throw it, I don't know if you threw it shallow. If you throw it shallow, it's a good context builder and a bait, kind of, but maybe I think that was a little bit risky. If it was like shallow and intentional to sensitize him, though, that was smart. That was good. That was good. Great one, too. I think for that fight, Ace just wasn't ready to be hit in the leg. It was ready to like do more footwork and maybe got just a tiny bit close. This is starting from further away and throwing safer shots to adjust for the previous round, so that's smart. You got legging your own in. Good lateral, good lateral. Lots of micro lateral adjustments like we talked about. That's great. I want to call that out. So right here, back and forth, side to side. That's exactly the stuff that I was talking about, where I feel like circling someone in a dramatic way, like around them when they're legged, it's not that good. But the side to side hops here, where they're not sure if they should pick that knee up to adjust or not, very good. It's exactly what I was talking about. It was a cheeky, let me see if I can get his arm money. I mean, sometimes it can, that's fine. All right. Come back. Did you just hit your sword against the ground there? On the way out? Or your leg or something? Okay. Yeah. I think maybe don't do that. I think it's kind of like just not my favorite thing. I get that this is like the highest stress situation that you could be in, but you want to like on a practical level, you don't want to communicate to your opponent that you're getting frustrated, because like you ever see that Goofy meme where the guy is like the really poorly drawn Disney Goofy is like, I'll fucking do it again, because like if I see you hit your leg because you got frustrated about something that happened, I'm like, oh yeah, man, that's my hook. Like, I'm going to get you. I think the strategy that I would use if I'm like feeling that frustration is I just try to delay the emotion and like recognize it. I'm like, that was real bullshit. I didn't like that. I didn't see anything like unusual there. I'm sure it was just like pressure. But what I try to do mentally is just like say to myself real quick, this emotion is valid. I'm really frustrated. I'm going to just tend to it later. And that for me tends to just work. But I would try to like I would try to not do that, but I would at least try to not do it like mid-fight because it looks like you've got one more set here. That's why I've been taking so long before starting the fight to reset and focus on the next fight. Okay. I think slowing things down and delaying is a really good balm for frustration too. Because like getting frustrated fucks everything up for me. Like if I get mad, like I throw too hard, right? And then or too many times. I definitely got frustrated at some of the Kingdom tournaments in February where I threw like 5 extra fucking times. And I'm like a big proponent of not overthrowing because it just confuses the reeve. And if the guy in front of you is like cheating or something and you hit him 5 times, it doesn't matter. He's just going to be like, well, I hit you the 1 time in the middle, so you're dead too. And now you have to redo it, right? So it's just kind of like, it's tough. It's tough, but I would try to like investigate and keep adjusting so that's just not. It sounds like we both kind of got to work on that a little bit, but just some suggestions. I think delaying is a really good idea when you're feeling that heat. That's a good compliment. Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, we're back. Yeah, good money. 10 by ace. Yeah, that was a great example of what I started calling a cross trap, where people will throw a couple crosses in a row, which you would normally think is like, oh, you know, that's not cool. But you'll see Toby here when he throws 2 crosses, he steps to the left while he does it. So he's like cross, and he pivots his shoulders and steps a little bit. So like the first shot of that cross trap is kind of just like your block's here where it belongs. It's fine there. And then when you pivot a little bit and cross again, it lands because the opponent thinks like, oh, you know, I had a block. I'll be fine. And they're not fine. They're dead instead. So that was really solid. I think the only thing that I might have added to that, like if you're intentionally cross-trapping, you did it. So in this direction, right? Enhancement that I would make to it is your initial step was still, you kind of moved from like here and stepped up this way, right? So you stepped a little bit and then you executed the cross trap in that direction. I would see if you can do like a little bit of lateral movement this way and then change directions and execute that trap that way. So it may just be that you saw the opportunity to cross trap, so you didn't set it up, but that's maybe something that I would consider adding. Well, let's get back to normal speed. Yeah, good fighting there, man. Good fighting. I have a hard time separating the way fighting pits versus fighting in brackets. Is a good opportunity to test out. Okay, let's to Bighead. There are different strategies for those 2 situations. This is going to be a great fight. Okay, simultaneous legs. Okay, I think that Toby got money on that one. That money is disgusting. It's a very good money. I'm excited to get hit with that when I come back because it looks like you've improved it a lot. feel like it doesn't reset. Was that? I just want to see what that lead was for the cross that Toby threw. Alright, let's see this. That looked like you kind of like step back like this, like I'm gonna wrap ya, and then crossed at him. I like that. That was good. I think it definitely caught him off guard for sure. You kind of like threw behind your head. Yeah, that was cool. I'm gonna steal that one too. I feel like my A game is definitely like lots of shoulder reps and flat reps, so I can envision for myself walking up like, oh, I'm gonna wrap ya, and then just like kind of crossing behind my head would work really well for my own game plan. So I like that. I like that shot. I think maybe that was a simul and a reset, but I'm not sure. But it's fine. I like that technique. Scoops. I like how Morpheus is he's throwing scoops. Let's see if I got. He's throwing like an upward scoop like this at the same time that he's creating safety for himself by stepping offline. I'm like really interested in scoops right now because I haven't learned like a new shot in a long time. So that's definitely another thing that I'm going to kind of take for myself, where I feel like using this lateral movement and that scoop makes this a very safe poke from range. Toby can throw a hip wrap, spin, or cross out of that lead and kills me with all three. Disgusting. Good money. Good money. Is that 1-1? Yeah. Having that, that's Chubby in the chat is saying it's a combination of a body fake to the sword side. It puts me in position to throw all of my favorite shots. That's a really good, what I kind of touched on before, where you're identifying your basic like flow chart of stuff that you use in a tournament like progressively. So that's a really good example of like identifying like this is a position that sets me to use a branch tree of different attacks. So that's smart strategizing. I think that's something that most people think about informally, but I think it's really helpful to formalize that. So reset. Oh, okay. So this was you were coming back from losers and you're fighting Morpheus and winners. Okay. Good job for the reset, man. It's like we got 1 more minute. I'm going to make it to the end of this, and then my dog's got to go outside, and I've got to take some melatonin and start my wind down. Okay. Scoop. Good lateral pressure here. So was that just one more fight or something after that? Okay. Interesting. Anyway. I don't know if this is at the reset or not. Second fight set 2. Okay. Did he take both fights then? On set 2. Okay. Still though, like fighting your way up in winners and taking one is a huge deal. So congrats to you, dude. That's incredible work. It seems like you kind of just adjusted to your game plan here, and that's kind of like part of the power of being like really experienced is like there's like a gulf between like it's one thing, it's one level to beat someone in a 2 out of 3. But sometimes when you're an experienced disadvantage, you can kind of like run out of surprises or plans or variations, and then the person with like considerably more experience kind of like settles in. I think you're on the right track with taking a lot of time to reset, right? Because a person with like a high amount of experience like Morpheus, who I'm assuming has like more years of experience in the game than you do, they can do that really fast. So taking the time to slow the fight down in between to give your brain the extra time to do that, because the experienced guy doesn't need that time, but you definitely do. So I think that was a really smart way of kind of like bridging that gap by taking your time. So that was really smart. I think my brain is out of juice for analysis on that last one. I'll try to watch it again sometime, but it's 11:02, so I gotta stop this, man. I'm beat. So again, if you haven't followed, drop me a follow on Twitch. I am cutting these analysis into VODs and just kind of condensing it down to the instructional stuff and removing the like trying to find shit during the tape and some of the responses to chat and stuff. So there will be VODs of pretty much all of the input that'll be more digestible than the 2 hours. I'm going to reflect on, normally I don't want to do tournament analysis for the same region 2 weeks in a row. But since this was Keep and a multi-kingdom event, I'm thinking about doing Flow and Open next week, but I haven't decided yet. So if you guys have a preference in that regard, please express it to me. Otherwise, I'll try to find some other tape or something. I'm kind of 50-50. I'm on the fence for it. So thank you. Thanks, everybody, for showing up. No problem. Happy to see you guys. Am I going to watch Flow and Open it? Yeah, maybe. If you're interested in it, I'll do it. So I'll be here if you're reviewing it. Okay. I'll keep that in mind. We'll see what else pops up. I'm gonna reflect on it. I think I'm kind of like leaning away from doing it right now just because I'm like tired and it's been 4 hours. But I think I'll probably, when I come down from the endorphins of talking in front of an imaginary audience for 4 hours, I'll probably be like, yeah, I'll do it. But all right, my friends. Hey, thanks so much for joining me. Like, this is super fun. I feel like it's making me improve my mental game a lot. It's really engaging. Little known secret, but I used to really hate reviewing tape and felt like it was a waste of time. But streaming it and hanging out with my friends and cutting it and editing it really helps me to do the video analysis that my fighting needs, since I'm not able to dump as much time into it as I used to, since I'm kind of old and busted. So thank you guys so much for supporting that. All right, I will catch you guys in the next one. Good night.